This is the XC90 Recharge Ultimate Grade, and it's just been upgraded for 2023. I've been driving this for a week with my family, and I've discovered that it's still sophisticated. It has a larger electric battery for this plug-in hybrid version, and it has a better fuel efficiency than the previous model, which was already pretty impressive. In fact, I liked this so much that I tried to convince the family to upgrade from our older V60 wagon. That didn't fly with my husband, but let me show you what I like about it. And don't forget to subscribe and stay up to date with our latest videos. There's only one hybrid variant available on the XC90, and it will cost you around $122,000 before on-road costs. It is a bit more expensive than the previous model, but the Ultimate is aptly named because you get a lot for your money here. If you want to spend less or just don't want the plug-in hybrid version, there are 3 other petrol variants that you can choose from which are cheaper. Some of the standard kit includes Napa leather seats, heated front and rear outboard seats, 22-inch alloy wheels, panoramic sunroof, and a slew of safety features that should make any family car buyer happy. If you're considering a vehicle like this, it does represent reasonable value for money, and the packages that other prestige SUVs may have as add-ons are actually included in this, so it's easy to see what you're getting for your money. Despite its low profile, it's a beast in size, and it still has the old boxy Volvo stylings, but it is more refined and modern, giving it a long design shelf life, which is evident because it hasn't been updated much since it was released in 2015. But you know what? I mean, why change what works? And it works well. The black grille and accents plus the large LED lights makes the nose look polished but still mean. And the big wheels suit the large body, and the dark tinted rear windows create a limo-like mystery. The interior carries through the refinement, and all the details look well executed and good. The colour choices on the Volvo are a little bit muted because Volvo tends to lean towards the understated elegance vibe when it comes to design, but its size and sophisticated curbside appeal makes it attractive enough without peacocking the exterior. Firstly, this section is going to be a little bit bigger because there are so many features to talk about in this big car. And straight off the bat, the front just feels luxurious and the finishes are beautifully executed. It looks really well done, but not too in your face. And I really like the mixed materials of the shiny metals and the softly padded leather. Creates a really nice special cabin feel. The dash is really interesting to look at. Everything sort of flows seamlessly, which is nice. The only thing I don't love about it is this speaker system on top. It sort of looks like, I don't know, an eye's watching me. I've nicknamed it the Cyclops. But other than that, it all works well. The steering wheel is thick and nicely padded and feels really nice under your hands. And although the 12-inch digital instrument panel isn't super customizable, it's easy to read, which is always handy. Plus, the head-up display has been really good this week. The 9-inch touchscreen multimedia system does take a little bit to get used to, but after a week of using it, I'm pretty confident about where everything is. There's also heaps of customizations that you can do in there, so it really makes the car feel like your own. Surprisingly, at this level, it doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay, only wired, and it doesn't have a seamless Android Auto phone mirroring system. It has built-in Google apps which you can log into to get your Android connected, but I was surprised that it wasn't wireless. It was easy to connect my iPhone 8 Plus to it, but occasionally the car did recognize it as an iPod and not an iPhone. That might be the age of my phone though, or my cable. You don't push the start engine button. It's a swivel motion, and I actually think it works really well. I'm quite fond of it now. And because of its position in the middle console, the swivel action means that it's easy to not bump it accidentally. The E-shifter though is never going to be my favorite style. I don't like that you have to double tap it to shift it into gear, and I would have liked if these buttons down here were illuminated so I knew which gear I was in, so I didn't have to look at the dash. You have a wireless charging pad, which is always handy for a smartphone, but you also have 2 hidden USB-A ports in the middle console. So if you do need to use your cable, it keeps things all nice and neat. You also have a hidden 12-volt port in here, but you know, how often do you use that? So tuck it away, can't see it, but it's still there. The storage throughout the car is pretty good, but the middle console is not as deep as what it could be. And while the glove box is a good size, it took me a little moment to figure out how to open it. It has an electric button to open it. Now that is cool, but do we really need an electric button? That sort of leans into that over-engineered sort of mentality. The sound system in here is really good and the sound quality fantastic. And I really like the black headliner and panoramic sunroof. Makes the interior feel quite plush. The weight of the doors is really nice too. And I like that you can have electric child locks that's activated on the front controls. It's the same as my Volvo, but the only thing I don't like about it is that you can't customize which rear door gets locked. So if you have adults in the back and a toddler, they get locked in as well. And lastly, the seats. The seats are awesome. Like, they're really, really comfortable. I mean, can you tell that I like these seats? The Napa leather feels luxurious. They're electric. They have adjustable lumbar support and an extension for under thigh support. So if you're tall, you're going to have a comfortable seating position. Very nice for a long trip. And they're heated, which is always a bonus in my books. The back seat's pretty big. You've got decent headroom and legroom. And the seats are really well padded, but there's not heaps of under thigh support. You're also in, I'd say, stadium seating because you feel a lot higher than the front occupants. It's really nice that the outboard seats are heated because it means backseat passengers are going to be comfortable on a longer trip too. The back seat's pretty wide and I think comfortably would fit 3 car seats side by side. But even though it's wide, I still feel like the seatbelt fasteners are sort of digging into your bottom when you're sitting on here. I do like that you have a fold-down armrest with built-in cup holders, and a really cool feature is the built-in booster seat. Now, a great feature to have in a family car when you have children who are in that weird transition stage between child seat and normal seat. However, I would have liked it to have been on the outboard seats like it is in my Volvo, because it means that you'd get 2 instead of 1. Always handy if you have more than one child in that weird transition stage. The amenities in the back seat are pretty good. You have directional air vents, not just in the middle console, but also on the B pillar, meaning that you've got pretty good efficiency back here. And you also have map pockets, reading lights, drink bottle holders in each door. You have these really cool retractable blinds, always a practical feature when you have little ones. And you have a 4-zone climate control, meaning that the backseat passengers enjoy the front seat passengers' comfort, so I can have a different temperature blowing on me to my cabin mate. My son also really likes the retractable sun blinds and the fact that the windowsills are a bit lower, so he got a pretty good view this week. The lower profile height of the car meant that he was able to scramble in and out without my help this week too, which is always nice. There are ISOFIX mounts on the outboard seat, plus 3 top tether child seat mounts. And like I said, I think you'd be able to get 3 child seats side by side in here. It was really easy to fit my big monster harness booster seat, and pretty easy to fit a 0 to 4 rearward facing child seat. Plus, front occupants will have plenty of space when one's installed. It's great that the back row is comprised of 3 individual seats, because it means that you've got lots of different storage options. Just be careful when you pop down the middle seat, because it goes rather quick and you don't want your fingers jammed in there. The third row is not too bad. It's bigger than the average third row, and as an adult, I could get away with sitting in here on a short trip. Kids will definitely be more comfortable though. And surprisingly, this third row gets way more than the average one. I mean, on each wheel arch you get a cup holder, dedicated snack tray or storage tray, directional air vents, reading lights. It's not too bad. The boot is a highlight. It's really big, and even when all three rows are in action, you still fit quite a bit in here. But pop the third row down and you're going to be sorted for your annual roadie. There's also some really cool features in here too. Let me show you. There are luggage hooks, adjustable air suspension, and a power tailgate with kick function. This has a turbo-petrol plug-in hybrid powertrain, and it's a winning combo in this SUV. Now, that's a big call because usually I find that combo can create a disjointed driving experience, but not in this car. This feels effortlessly powerful at all speeds. You know, need to dart across traffic or get up a hill or overtake, it's no problem. And I really like the 8-speed auto transmission. It makes the gear changing feel really smooth and supple. The power steering is adaptive to optimize the driving experience, so there's no heavy handling here. Even when this isn't in hybrid mode, when you're just using the conventional engine, there's very little engine noise. Now, there's something to be said about a gutsy engine having the distinctive growl attached to it. And while this can get a little bit growly, I don't actually miss it. It's quite a nice driving experience. The visibility is pretty good, but the B and C pillars are quite wide, making it hard to sometimes see out the windows, but the blind spot monitoring system helps get around this. I also really like how the touchscreen is sloped because it means it's much easier to see when you're on the road if you need to access it. The air suspension makes for a very smooth ride. You know, you're able to tackle some pretty heavy bumps in this without too much fuss. That's not to say that it's a floaty experience because you still feel the road, which I quite like as a driver. So, hands down, this is one of the best driving experiences that I've had this year. It's a big car and you do need more clearance in a car park, but the steering, camera system and parking sensors take out the guesswork. The park assist feature was also handy, but I don't like that you have to access the touchscreen to activate it. I'm about to hit you with one of the most attractive aspects of this car. The official combined fuel cycle figure is 1.8 litres per 100 kilometres. 1.8. Let's just let that sink in for a moment. I mean, granted, that's when it's in hybrid mode and is using the electric engine too, but that is outstanding for a 7-seater SUV with this much power. And you are going to get the most out of your car if you recharge it regularly, which could be a problem if you don't have easy access to a power point. But let's be honest, this isn't the sort of car that you don't tuck in at night. Volvo claims an electric range of 77 kilometers, but even without charging it, I still only achieved a top of 6.6 litres per 100 kilometers, and that was after a week of 560 kilometers worth of driving. That's superb. Charging is easy. There's a long charging cable that's housed in the boot, and you just plug it in on the passenger side and it plugs into an average wall socket. Leave it overnight and you're good to go. The only thing that I would mention is that if you're particularly distracted in the mornings, kids yelling at you or whatnot, you might not notice on the dash the warning sign that says still plugged in. And because it's on the passenger side, you may not notice it when you first get in either. So make sure you are unplugged before backing out of your driveway. As you'd expect of a Volvo, the safety game is strong, but this generation was launched a while ago and the 2023 model doesn't reset the benchmark. It does have some cool highlights like rear and front cross traffic alert and rear collision warning. It also has a cool pilot assist program, which when activated, if there's no input from the driver after numerous alerts, the car will stop itself, put on the hazard lights and contact emergency services, which I thought was a pretty good feature. It has the usual airbags, including curtain airbags covering the third row, but unlike some newer cars on the market at the moment, it doesn't have a front center airbag. The Generation XC90's 5-star ANCAP safety rating has just expired, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is unsafe. The XC90 comes with Volvo's 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, but it does come with 8 years roadside assistance, which is great for peace of mind. You can pre-purchase 3 or 5-year cap price servicing, and the 5-year plan comes at about $600 per service, which is pretty competitive for a large SUV. And in fact, cheaper to service this Volvo than a Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid. Servicing intervals are reasonable at every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first. A big 7-seater with luxury appointments and better fuel economy than most hatchbacks. There's a lot to like about the XC90 Recharge Ultimate plug-in hybrid, even though it has a price tag well over 100 grand. There are a few things that feel a tad over-engineered, but overall it's practical, stylish, and drives bloody brilliantly. This easily achieves a 9.5 out of 10 from me. My son really liked this one too. He felt like he was king in the back seat. And surprisingly, he really loved the sound system. Whenever we had it on, like music, he would insist that the windows be down and the volume turned up so everyone could enjoy it. Naturally, this got a 10 out of 10 from him. If you're after more details, check out the full review at the CarsGuide site. The link will be in the description, and I'll see you next week.